Nweke. I'm the CTO at Wicrypt and lead software engineers for that Z Finance. So today, my talk is basically targeted at both technical and non-technical clients. Right, I'm talking about event-driven smart contract development. Well, that was actually what I planned to talk about originally, but decided to keep the topic as well. But I'm aware that previous speakers have already done justice to talking about events and the role they play in smart contract development. So I'll hurry through that phase of my talk and get into what I'm actually interested in talking about. How do I go to the next slide? Do I say next slide and then you move to the next slide? Okay, that's how it works. Previous slide. Next slide. Cool. Thanks. Alright. So external clients, dApps, server-side apps, software, mobile applications, they interact with smart contracts and their interactions can be categorized into two forms. Right, next slide please. The interaction can be categorized into transactions and calls. Right, so transactions are function calls that modify the state of the EVM. EVM is a short form for the Ethereum virtual machine. Now, protocols like PSC, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon Chain, Arbitrum, these are all forks of Ethereum, and they are all based on the Ethereum virtual machine. So that's why when you write a smart contract for Ethereum, you can write it on Binance Smart Chain, you can write it on Polygon Chain with very little changes to your core contract code, right? So when I say EVM, I am referring to the platform upon which your smart contracts run, the platform upon which things like your balance are held. So if I send money from my wallet to another person's wallet, right, the state is changed on the Ethereum virtual machine, so that when you open your MetaMask, you will see that I sent you 10 USDT, right? So that's how that works. So there are three categories of transactions. There's the regular transactions where I just perform transfers from my external owned accounts, EOA accounts, to your own EOA account. So I send you Ethereum or Matic in the case of a Polygon chain. There are also like contract deployment transactions. So these are like transactions where I actually deploy my smart contract to the chain. Then there are contract execution transactions. So when I sign out to my smart contracts, like I call mint on my NFT contract, right? So these are like contracts. So these are like contract execution transactions. Then the other category of interaction are calls, right? So calls are basically you want to get permission from the blockchain, but you do not change the state of the blockchain. So that's basically what calls are. Next slide, please. So what about transactions interest us? Events everywhere. Like it's so fascinating what you can do by just listening to events. For people who are not technical, right? What developers do with events is similar to what you would call insider information, or if I was to tell me that they need to have a bomb. Because so you want to know what happened. You are not there when it happened, but you're interested in finding out what happened so you can react accordingly. So that's just basically what events are. There's nothing special about it. If your smart contract does something, it says I did this. And 2 days, 3 days later, anybody can still go pull it for that particular time frame, and you can get all the information about all the things your smart contract did, right? So that's what basically events are. Like I said, nothing fancy. So what are events? So events are nothing new actually. So they've actually been in existence in varying forms and context in the architecture and design of pretty much everything we know today to be the digital world. Right, so if you have familiarity with something like C# or Java, right, there are in that particular context of the programming language, right, so there are events there. If you are looking at it from the standpoint of you building and designing distributed systems, there are also events there, right, and they serve different purposes. So events in blockchain is nothing new. It has always been existing, whether you want to call it Web 2 or Web 3. software engineering. And if you dig a little bit deeper, you find that the whole Web3 stuff that we talk about, it's actually still like regular software engineering. It's at bare metals, right? It's still a P2P network where you have your data structure for handling storage, but you have a data structure that is trustless and is permissionless. I'll get into the data structure that makes the whole blockchain thing so interesting anyways. So next slide please. Yeah, so this is like an example of an event-driven system for a ride-hailing company where you want to build a system that's fault tolerant, resilient, and can recover from failures with minimal downtime. Here, the design accounts for events. Next slide, please. This is a second example of another architectural design that utilizes events. So you have a system that generates events based on actions happening there. Let's say you request for a ride, right? And then your request gets taken by the web app or mobile app, right? And you publish that event that gets consumed by someone else, a separate service, and that service matches your request to an available rider or send out an email. It just happens that way so the system can be much more faster, right? Because let's say it takes like 5 seconds to send an email when you make a request, right? So if you click that button, you have to wait 5 seconds before you get a response telling you completed or successful, right? But with events, you can click on that button, your request gets sent asynchronously. So when I say asynchronous, what I simply mean is something you don't have to wait for to get the response. So someone just comes, takes your order, and he goes to prepare what you requested for, right? So that's what asynchronous stands for. Well, that's pretty much what I want to talk about with regards to events. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, this is like a diagram. Can you guys see this stuff at all? Is it clear? Okay, cool. Yeah, so, this is a design of how your regular fund transfer, what exactly happens when I send USDT to your MetaMask wallet address or your Binance wallet address. So what actually happens is there is a smart contract deployed on the chain for that particular token, right? And anytime I want to send someone money, I call the function as smart contract, and part of the things that happens is it checks that I have enough funds in my wallet. It attempts to make the transfer to your wallet, and this transfer that's happening is not special, it's just plus and minus. Your regular primary, secondary school mathematics. You take 20 from here, you minus, take 20, you add it here. That's how the transfer works. You add your 20 and event. Right? So that event is what a lot of applications like utilize to sort of like know what is exactly happening. Like if something happened, how it went. It's based on events. Yeah, events act as some sort of like storage on the blockchain. So you don't have to store it in a smart contract. You can just store it on the blockchain, and it's 10 times cheaper than you store it in a smart contract, and it's easily queryable by anybody at any point in time. Events are a cheaper form of storage. They're like 10 times cheaper when compared to storing information on the smart contract. And the most common use cases for storing history of transactions or records, right? Next slide, please. Next slide, as well. So I'll just briefly talk about how events work. Because I think what they comprise of. So the event law is actually what the events or smart contracts emit are represented as. They're implemented on the blockchain as logs. Now, when I say logs, I'm trying to, it might sound as if I'm trying to like dumb things down and I'm underrating my audience. No, that's not the point. I'm just trying to drive the point home to find out that this whole blockchain is not as complicated as people wish to make it sound by introducing buzzwords like decentralized, Web3, peer-to-peer. It's not that complex. So a log, as you know, is just a journal of entries, right? If you did anything, you feed your logbook day by day, things you did. So when it comes to events and how they're represented on the blockchain, it's very similar to how your logbook was when you did your IT, right? You have day by day things that you have done documented on your logbook. Next slide, please. Okay, yeah, this slide. No, sorry for that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so topics in Ethereum log. So you have a log. Let's say I have a single log entry. It's divided into two parts. There is the topics and there's the data. So the topics are things you can like filter by. Remember I told you can query the blockchain for logs, right? So there are fields you can filter by. So let's say I want to filter by let's assume we had a smart contract where everybody had to interact with to gain entry to this place. And when you interacted, you put in your name, your first name, your last name, and let's say your date of birth, right? And each time you about entry, you click on the button and you send that information to the blockchain, and an event was emitted with your first name, your last name, your date of birth, right? So if I wanted to get everybody who got into this place between let's say 11 a.m. and 12 p.m., right? I just need to check for that particular range, that particular time range, since I'm sending both your first name, your last name, your date of birth, and when you actually entered here. If I wanted to get everybody who came here between 11 and 12 a.m. and their name was Amaka, I will just query the blockchain within that same time range while passing Amaka as a query parameter, and to give all the people, if there are any records at all, who gain access to this place between 11 and 12 p.m. whose name was Amaka. So that's how topics work in general, right? Yeah. Okay, so next slide. So I have to skip a lot of slides because I heard that people have done justice to what events are. And the slides will be made available, and if anyone has questions, you can always reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to explain. Next slide as well. Yes, okay. So before I talk about this code, that is how we usually do programming when we want to integrate our smart contracts with our regular mobile apps, our regular API backends. Right? So what we do is we listen for events that happen on the smart contract. We get those events. When we get the events, we can either choose to call another smart contract or just perform some operation within our system and send out notifications, emails, updates, and entry in the database. Right? But there isn't a way whereby if something happens on one smart contract, another smart contract can know about it without a third party coming into play. Right? So let's say you sent money. I think money is like the most simple illustration I can use right now. So let's say I sent money, USDT, to someone's wallet address, and I have another contract that needs that information. Currently, it's very difficult to get that information without having to build an off-chain oracle. By off-chain oracle, I mean an off-chain processor that gets the information from the USDT smart contract, and then based on that updates my own smart contract, telling me that, oh hey, something happened here, I think you need to be aware of it, right? So that's how people normally build and design systems, right? But there's a flaw with that approach, right? It takes away the whole decentralized way we try to preach about. Because I mean I'm introducing an external system that I control. And there's no guarantee that when that external system tells this guy something happens here, that it actually happened. Right? So it brings up the question of what exactly is true, what exactly is not true, and where is the limit of the decentralized and where does centralized come into play. So people say I like codes a lot. So I found one. So it goes this way, trust starts with truth and it ends with truth. So if you say something is permissionless, it has to be permissionless at the beginning and at the end. Right? So next slide please. That brings me to talking about the fundamental data structure we use in blockchains. Now, what I'm going to talk about is not blockchain related, it's not Web3. it is regular software engineering. It is normal things you would do in your computer science class in UNN or ISUT, right? So you now see that the Web3 thing that they have been speaking plenty grammar about, DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, NFT, interplanetary file system, IPFS. At the root of it all, is the normal thing your lecturers were supposed to teach you in school if you did computer science, or the normal thing you will find in that Indian guy's tutorial on YouTube. Not about Meku tree, right? Because there are actually two data structures that are quite interesting. The Meku tree and the Meku Patricia tree. But it's not the Meku tree. Right? So the Meku tree is a data structure, right? Which stores all transactions in a given block. And the Meku tree root is placed in the block header as a summary of transactions. This means in English. Let me translate. So what the Meku tree is just a data format, right? When I say data structure, I just mean the way we organize information in the computer, right? So there's this particular format we organize information in the computer that makes it possible for us to validate that what people said was in that place was actually in that place at the time they said it was in that place. I'll use this table as an example, right? There are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on this table. Now, if tomorrow someone comes and they say there are 8 people on this table, it means that it's a lie, it's not true, because there are only 6 people on this table. But we don't have a way of validating that information because, what are you going to validate, right? For you to know the people that are on this table, you have to check on the people that are assigned to this table, and you have to ask them one by one. Do you know this guy? 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 That's the way you can validate that 6 people are actually on this table, right? But when you have a you don't need to ask everybody. You need to ask 2 or 3 people. Now, it might look like not a lot of improvements. What's going to be asking 2 people, asking 6 people? But imagine something like Ethereum, where transactions are happening every 20 seconds, and you have a block that can have up to like 100 transactions. And at every point in time, you have numerous applications all over the world trying to validate that I got this transaction. Can you help me verify if it's actually true? It becomes very resource intensive, and you need to find out the quickest and fastest way to validate information without having to have the full data set at your disposal. So that's what the Meku tree does. Next slide, please. So Meku make it easy for verification of transaction without the need to run through the full blockchain node. The Meku proof is the concept that we use in validating this transaction, in verifying transactions on the chain. Next slide, please. So what is the Meku proof? So the Meku proof is an algorithm that it traverses the tree. Taking the trees. When they say tree, right, they just mean it's tree. Tree is tree. Like your regular tree. If you go outside and look at a tree, it has roots, it has branches, it has leaves. That is just what a tree is. So take away the leaves from your regular is a good example, orange tree. Just imagine your orange tree. But instead of leaf, the green leaf you see there, what you have there are actually information about transactions. The money I sent to you is 1 leaf. So that's what a tree is. It's just like data structure. So how it works is this: if I want to validate that I sent money to someone, right? I will need to download the full tree for that particular block, because I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. I didn't mention this earlier. So how we process transactions on the blockchain is transactions are included in a block, and then the block is propagated to the network by a particular node, and every other node on the network gets that block, and they verify that what I said is in that block is in that block, and then we move to the next block and try to validate transactions again. So now, if you want to verify a transaction on a particular block, you don't have to check all the transactions on that block. You just need a subset of it to prove that the transaction that I said is in block 127 is actually on block 127. So let's see how it would. You guys can see the stuff, right? The diagram here. Okay, cool. Let's see how we validate a proof that a transaction in that block was actually on that block. So what I need transaction I'm going for, and then I need the accompanying transaction. So how the tree works is this: you have two transactions, you get their hashes, right? So when you get the hashes of those two transactions, you combine their hashes to get the next hash. Then go to previous slide. Previous slide, please. So let's look at data A and data B. So if you hash data A, you get hash A. If you hash data B, you get hash B. If you hash A and B, if you take the hash of A and B, you get hash AB, right? Then if you take the hash of AB and CD, you get hash ABCD. And so what you're just doing is you are recursively taking the hash of all the transactions in that block to get the root hash, right? And it's that root hash that's included in the header of the block on the blockchain, right? Cool. So now I want to validate that a transaction is in the block that they said it was. Now I have the hash of that transaction in question. The only thing I need to validate this stuff is I need the accompanying hash of the company. I need the hash of their company transaction, like the hash of this side my own, one after my own, right? Then I need the hash of another set of transactions. So like I didn't have a transaction, I just need the clients that I'm querying, the node I'm querying for to give me 3 additional hashes. I have my own hash, I need 2 additional hashes. So usually how it works is you just send in a transaction hash. The node software is already built in such a way for verification of proofs. It runs an algorithm, so we give them a transaction ID, they have the other hashes they need. And they don't need to check all the transactions, they just need to get 3 hashes, and with that, they can arrive at the root node. These things are very complicated, but we're going to skip those spaces, so let me try to explain the verifiable forward. Okay, so we have my transaction of interest, transaction C, and I have its hash. And I have the hash of transaction T. So I pick what I have, and the hash T node give me, which is the hash of transaction T, and I get the transaction hash of C. Now, the node also gives me the hash of transaction A and B, which is AB. So if I take the hash I got, which is C, with the one the node gave me, AB, I get the hash ABC. The hash of the node also gives me the hash EFGH, which is the hash of which is the hash you get when you hash the transactions E to H, right? And then I arrive at my main root hash. So now, if this transaction was not in this chain, was not in this block as I had said it was, I will not arrive at the root hash when I verify the proof. And if what I arrive as the root hash does not tally with what is in the block header for the root hash, it means I'm lying. So this is like in layman terms how blockchains validate and verify transactions. That is the decentralized part of it. Anybody can, any of the nodes can create a transaction, right? But all the nodes can verify that transaction. So I can't come and just sneak in a transaction and propagate to the network, right? If I do that, other nodes need to verify what I said is true. And if they can verify what I said is true, then nothing for me. My transaction gets dropped, right? Yeah. So that's how the Wicrypt works. For how Ethereum works is a variant of that. So can I get the next slide? Next slide. Next slide as well. One more. Next slide. Yes, thank you. Okay, so can you guys see this diagram? Is it clear? I got the point. Okay, am I boring you people? Okay. So you if you take away the high parts, this thing becomes boring. It's not my fault. That's how it is. So okay, so this that particular data structure is called a trend. It's not string. It's TRIE. Don't ask why they try. That's how I said to people. We don't use to invent knowledge in this part of the world. We only use to consume it. So if they call it try, we'll call it try. When we start developing our own, we'll name it so we like to name it. So we don't benefit of using this data structure as opposed to the one I showed you earlier. It's actually very similar, but there's a very unique difference. Is that it allows keys with the same sequence to be closer together, right? So let's look at it. So we have the root node, And then we have T, right? T is a new node I want to add to the root node. So if I pass T to the root node, it comes as a leaf node. Then if I pass to, right, to go to the root node, right? So the first thing that happens is it takes the T, which is the first character, and it checks if there's any node that has that particular key of T. If I want to, it obviously goes to the left part, right? And then the next value in the key is O. So it checks, is there anyone that has O? No one has O, so it's settled as a leaf node, right? Then let's say I want to pass in T, the one you click, right? So I pass in that particular element. So I pass in T, I see there's a match for T. Then it checks, there's a match for E. There's no match for E. So it creates a new node directly on that T. I remember what I want to add is T. So I check, I have T remaining my A. Is there any other node that has A? No node has A. So it puts T here. Right? Then I pass third. Now, T and third mean very different things. But if you're just talking about like the grammar, right? It's T A. So I just try to be like similar. Right? So how do we get the computer to arrange data close together that have like very similar set of characters? So I pass in third. So it finds T, it finds E, comes here. Now it checks, do I have any node that has T, the third? So that is I get a new leaf node. And that's just how the try data structure works, right? It's very simple. Now, to lead back with the try data structure is we can read the try data structure. Then can be inefficient when you want to when there's a long key, when the other key shares a common prefix. So let's say I tried inserting something like microphone here now. So that's going to work is. So next slide please. Let's say I'm inserting something like microphone here for instance. Right? So that's going to work is that I'll just have a very long node with nothing related to it. Right? So that's like only downside of the thing because you end up having like part of your trying that structure will just very long and it's very hard to query just by virtue of the fact that you had a very long key value. So that's the downside. Next slide please. Okay, next slide. Okay. So Ethereum uses a version of the trident structure. It's called the Emeka Nweke tree. So let me explain what Patricia is, not somebody's name. So Patricia stands for Practical Algorithm to Retrieve Information Coded in Alphanumeric. Like I said, we don't invent knowledge. So it's what they tell us, we live like that. Patricia and I know somebody's name. Or that startup in Lagos, but it's fine. So what this simply means is that nodes are referenced by their hash. You have the root node that acts as a cryptographic fingerprint for the structure. More plenty in English, so let me explain. Nodes are referenced by the hash. Remember when I told you earlier that you have to convert from and then you hash it to get the hash for the transaction. You can combine hashes and you just keep hashing until you get to the root hash, right? So how Ethereum works with this stuff is what they use as their key is the hash, right? And the root node acts as a verification that the data in the structure is valid. That is just what cryptographic fingerprint is. It's not someone's actual fingerprint. Just something that you can say, okay, this is correct. Right? Yeah. So for efficiency, the people who designed Ethereum decided to add 4 new types of nodes. There's empty nodes, the leaf node, the branch node, and the extension node. Empty node means there's nothing inside. A leaf node, remember the example I gave earlier of the leaf, your orange tree, and how it contains information. So the leaf is actually what contains information. So if I sense more, if I want to get my balance, right, I'll be looking at the leaf node based on my public key, which is my wallet address, right? A branch node is a special type of node. List of like 17. First 16 elements correspond to 16 hex characters and ends with another slot for if there's actual value. Then there's the extension node. Extension node is basically just extends the tree more for us to do more transactions. Next slide. Next slide. That's what I was talking about, sorry. Next slide now. Next slide. Next slide. Thank you. It's okay. Okay, can I see this diagram? So I'll summarize everything I want to say in this diagram and then I'll leave you people. So, still look complicated though. Jesus. Don't worry, it took me time to understand it. That's way. Don't feel dumb. So let's start. So you can see this, right? Simplified word state. You can see keys, you can see value. You can see the values that have ETH, right? Okay, cool. So let's say I want to insert the first one inside of my tree, like partition tree structure, right? So I check this the root node. I try to add A7. I try to add A. So what happens is I have A and okay, let's just I put in the first node. So it looks over here, there's an extension node. I'll explain to you how you later got extension node and branch nodes is down. But let's just try to traverse how the insertions happen. So I have my key A7, right? So you look at the root. So the root connects to an extension node where the shared logo is A7. The prefix is 0. So you take A7, you put it here. So you see that it should be here. Then the next value of the key is 1. So the extension node gives you a hash to another node, in this case being a branch node. So if you take the key 1 out of the extension node, it brings you here, this branch node, right? So after that one, what you now have left is 1, 3, 5, 5. So it comes over here directly as the leaf node is your value, right? We'll take the second record as well. You have A7, obviously goes here. You have 7 as the next character in the key sequence. It goes to the branch node at the 7th location. You have D337. Now, originally, this is the summary of after you've done the insertions, but originally, this second transaction was also inserted as a leaf node. But the only reason why you are seeing it as an extension node right here now is that when this another transaction was attempted to be inserted, which is actually the last one, D3. When you attempt to insert a leaf node where an existing leaf node is, you have to convert that leaf node to an extension node. So that's why this stuff here, they are seeing D3 as an extension node. The only reason why it's an extension node is that there's another transaction, there's another record that has the same key sequence D3, right? It's the same explanation for why we have A7 as an extension node in the first place, right? So the moment you have, like trying to insert a leaf node into a leaf node, it has 3. I think I can't explain this thing. This guy is here, and it's just looking at it very funny, and it's very annoying. So I'll be at the back in case anyone wants me to explain this in details. If you like to share my slide, my Twitter handle is DM. If you want to message me on Twitter, just ask my phone number, give my WhatsApp number. I just on Twitter like that active. So just message me on Twitter, I'll send my WhatsApp phone number, and then you just call me. And if you ask me any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. They'll share the slides. It's part of very interesting, I was going to explain it, but it's